All right, looks like we're live. You're on with Trip doing a Google Hangout. Let's see here. Okay, we're live. We're doing the Google Hangout here. I'm doing these about once a month, all right? And these Google Hangouts, we're going to be doing different topics and getting your questions answered. So right now, there's a bunch of questions down below in the comments section. And if you have a question regarding meeting women at bars, go ahead and ask that question right now. Put that in the comments below. And if I don't get your question today, don't worry. I'm going to go back in there and answer as many as I can. We only have about 20 to 30 minutes. I know I usually go over, so we'll probably even be a little bit longer than that. But I'm going to get to as much as I can here, and we will answer all of your questions. I'm just going to apologize up front. I have this like crazy allergies going on right now, and I'm going to be like sniffling a lot, and it's going to be kind of annoying, but it's nothing I can do. I can't help it. I wish that this wasn't happening on the day of a Google Hangout, but what can you do? Don't want to cancel it, want to answer your questions. Okay, so let's go into it. Again, we're talking about how to meet women at bars, okay? That's what we're talking about here, how to meet women at bars. And a lot of you asked some amazing questions here. I'm going to answer them as thorough as possible so you can understand what to do, okay, when you see a girl at a bar and want to talk to her, approach her, and more importantly, attract her, okay? So let's start with AlanTheHumanx, okay? He asked, how do you approach multiple females? That's a great question, Alan. Fantastic question. How do you approach multiple females? Well, here's the thing. If you're at a bar, more times than not, there's going to be groups of women that you're going to approach. Okay, very rarely is there going to be just one woman kind of hanging out alone. If she is, she's probably waiting for a friend. Okay, so you're going to need to know how to approach women in groups. Okay, so here's my #1 tip in terms of how to approach a group of women. First of all, you need to come in with a lot of energy. Okay, energy is going to be the biggest key for you. That's what you have to do. So what do I mean by energy? Well, what I mean is that when you come in, you can't just like be talking really soft like this and like, hey, what's going on? They can barely hear you, right? And you don't want to be really stiff with your shoulders up and like your hands in your pockets, right? That doesn't scream energy. That screams that you're nervous, okay? So what you want to do is come in and be like, hey, what's going on, right? That's going to be the energy right there. Hey, what's going on? I had to come over and say hi, okay? Or some sort of opener like that. But mainly you want to come in, big smile on your face, lots of enthusiasm, lots of energy, because they need to be able to like hear you and see you and know what's going on. You don't really have to do that as much if you're approaching one woman, because she's going to be able to hear you and see you right there. But you got to get their attention. Okay, that's the key, getting their attention, because if they're in a group, they're talking to each other, and you will be in some ways interrupting. Now, there's a lot of different groups of women at the bars who are actually looking to be approached, okay? And here's a really cool way to look out for that. If you ever see, like, let's say 3 women at the bar, I mean at the bar, not necessarily like next to where they're serving drinks, but anywhere in a bar or club. And if you see them lined up next to each other, like kind of shoulder to shoulder, and there's like a big gap, like they're almost in half of a circle, that means that they want to be approached, okay? They're kind of bored. They're there looking for men. They want to be talked to. Other times you're going to see women who are in a closed group who they're all facing each other. That's okay too. What I say with that is find the little spot or the little area where you can approach them. Usually there's like somewhat of a gap there, and wherever that gap is between whatever girls, go in that section and approach the group of women. And then of course you're going to have a really, like, sometimes women will be right next to each other in a very tight group, okay? And there is no, real gap to go in there and make your approach. Doesn't mean you shouldn't approach. You should go in there anyways and give your opening line and start talking to them, okay? The big thing with groups too is you want to make sure everyone is engaged. That's a really important part. And I say that because, when I've worked with students in the past, I would notice that they would go up and approach a group of women, and they would only kind of focus on like one of the girls, and then the other girls next to them would get really bored. And then you know what happens? those girls who are really bored, they end up dragging their friend away. So my other tip in terms of approaching a group of multiple females is to make sure that you're talking to everyone and getting every single one of them engaged with you, okay? So that means when you're talking to them, you're going to be hitting them all with whatever you're saying. So even if you're asking a question to one of the girls, I still want you to look at the other ones and kind of scan your eyes and look at them so they know, like, oh, this guy is engaging us too. So they're all kind of wrapped up in your world there, okay? Anything else I can say about that? I mean, there's a lot more. I want to get to more questions, but I believe in my free seduction course, which I'll put in the description when this video goes on the channel after it's done being live. It's going to be automatically uploaded, and I'll put the link in there. So I believe I put some more really good juicy tips in terms of how to approach females in a group in a bar. So go check that out. There'll be a link for you to download it. Okay? All right, let's move on. So we got George Beridze. Sorry if I totally struggle to say your name, by the way. He says, how to stand out from the rest of the guys in the bar. Attractive girl will get a lot of approaches and may even get annoyed by that. So how do you dominate over the others? That's cool, George. I like how you say that. How to dominate over the others. Okay, here's something really cool to know. Guess what? Here's the reality of it. Most men will not be approaching at the bar, okay? A majority of men do not approach, okay? I would almost say there's probably no exceptions. I don't really know exactly how that fits outside of America. I'm not 100% familiar with other cultures, but I know in America, most guys at the bar are not approaching. And if they are approaching and talking to women, they're doing it very poorly, okay? That's for sure. So just remember that. Just keep that in mind when you're trying to be like, I want to be the winner. I want to be the guy in the whole bar who's getting the girls. You don't have much competition. That's what I'm trying to say to you, okay? You don't have much competition. Other things are, you don't want to use pickup lines, okay? Pickup lines, that's going to make you stand out if you're not using some sort of like cheesy pickup line, okay? I believe I have a video on here called Best Pickup Lines. So George, if you're watching this right now, check out Best Pickup Lines, okay? And I go over some really good stuff that you could use to open up conversation, which I think we'll go into in a little bit here anyways, okay? And so, okay, so what do you do if you're not using pickup lines? Well, my thing, okay, the thing that I like the best is using what's called a social type opener, okay? So going up and just saying like, hey, I wanted to come meet you. You girls look fun. You girls look cool, okay? So that makes you stand out because most men think that they have to like trick them or like say something totally different to get in a conversation. Like they don't feel that they can just go up to people in a social environment and talk to them. Like, why don't they feel that way? It's kind of weird, right? I think a lot of it has to do with nervousness and probably a lot of really terrible advice you're getting across, I don't know, the interwebs. But yeah, just go up to them and just let them know that you're there to socialize, that you just want to meet them. There doesn't have to be necessarily a specific reason, and they're gonna like that. That's the cool thing. So that's what's gonna make you stand out, is they're gonna be like, oh, cool, this guy's just being cool. That's all it is. This guy's being cool and he's hanging out and he's having fun and he's talking to us and there's no like weird tricks or gimmicks, right? Because they know why. If a guy comes up to the girl at the bar, they know. They're not idiots, okay? They know that he's there to hit on them. So whatever. So why don't you don't have to say that, but why don't you just be open with it? Hey, what's up? I want to talk to you. Girls are cool, right? What else here? What else can we do to have you stand out? Okay, here's a good way to stand out. A lot of guys are going in and if they are approaching, where they're talking about very boring stuff. If you watch a lot of my videos, I talk about this a lot. They ask the girls like their job and what they do for a living, and they talk about like, where do you live? And they talk about the bar itself, and they say, like, do you come here often, and all that stuff, right? Those are the things that are going to make you, if you don't say those things, that's going to make you stand out, okay? And I know that's going to be very difficult, and you're going to mess that up a bunch of times when you're talking to women at the bar, and you're going to be like, oh shit, like I just said it again, That's okay. If it comes out, not a big deal. But make it a game for yourself to do everything in your power not to ask those questions in the first, I'd say, 15 to 20 minutes, okay? That's gonna be your goal. Instead, I want you to talk to her about her friends, talk to her about anything else that's on your mind, right? Even like something crazy you've heard lately, right? Anything at all, like anything that's just like been on your mind, like something like that's been on my mind lately. Like I just met someone who traveled over to Syria and did some like crazy stuff over there. And like this guy was, you know, doing like, he was like maybe going to be a spy. It was some crazy stuff, right? I don't know. That's on my mind right now. Like I might find out a way to bring that up in conversation. You know, I don't know. Maybe not that, but just whatever is going on in your life, bring it up. See how she feels about it. See if that can spark the conversation. Anything you can to stay away from talking about what do you do, where are you from, okay? All right. Wow, we're already 10 minutes in. I've only answered 2 questions. All right, let's get this faster. All right, Bob Bundy asks, if I just meet a girl, will she be turned on if I give her a hug with a full raging boner, or does that disgust them? Okay, Bob Bundy, you really can't tell if you're asking a serious question or not. It sounds kind of ridiculous, but this might be a serious question for you, so I just had to answer it. Okay, so will a girl be turned on if you have a boner and you hug her? No, she will not be turned on. She will think you're a pervert and think that's disgusting. The only exception is if you have a girlfriend or you're married or you're in a relationship. Then it's kind of like a 180, right? Then the woman is like feeling really awesome that you're attracted to them and you guys are way more comfortable, right, with each other and way more comfortable sexually with each other, where it's going to be totally cool. But if you're not dating them, I would not do that. All right, moving along. Mitchel Voloshin asks, hey Trip, I got a question. When you first go up to a girl, what's the best way? Be direct, which means outright tell her, hey, thought you were interesting, so wanted to talk to you, or be indirect. Hey, what's the best drink in this place or something? And also how to know when to use one over the other depending on the girl, from Mitchel Voloshin. Okay, a little bit of a tricky question. And I know we kind of just went over this. Here's the thing. Like I just said, I'm more of a fan of being direct. I'm more of a fan of being direct, okay? But at the same time, you know, there is, you know, just because I say it doesn't mean it's the only right way. There's all different types of ways that you can open up, right? Go direct and say like, hey, you girls are cool, or go indirect and talk about something else that doesn't have to do with them. It's kind of up to you to test. Now, I know I just said like 5 minutes ago, you know, don't use pickup lines, go up to them, be direct. But again, I want you to test it out. That's what's gonna be the most important. I'm gonna give you tons of advice on this channel. I have over 100 videos with tons of advice. It's up to you to use it and see what works best for you, what's more comfortable with you. Because whatever is gonna be more comfortable for you is gonna make you appear more confident, okay? That is why I do push more of the direct stuff, because the direct stuff is the truth. Like, hey, you girls are cool, I had to come over and say hi. While that is the truth, I believe you're gonna connect with that and be more comfortable saying it, okay? And they're gonna know that you're telling the truth, okay? But either way, it's about testing. What else here? Yeah, you asked, and how do you know when to use one over the other depending on the girl? I mean, that's the thing. This is the problem, right? Is that, first of all, you're never going to know. The answer to that question is you don't know whether you should use like an opinion opener, you know, or a direct opener, right? Like you don't really know based on what she looks like. And this is the problem, right? Is that we make all these false judgment calls on how we believe that the woman is going to react to us, right? This is all the stuff that's going on in our head before we go and approach, right? So if she's like really attractive and we're really attracted to her, what's going to happen? We're going to think, oh, you know, like we need to use a pickup line on her because she's really hot or something like that, or that she probably has a boyfriend, I shouldn't go approach her. Or, you know, maybe you'll say like, oh, you know, she's not that attractive, like maybe she'll be nicer, should I go and approach her? You know, all these little mini judgment calls where we'll have no idea, okay? We'll have no idea what the woman is like, and we just base that off of some random thoughts just by looking at the woman. So I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to make those judgments. Instead, I want you to find out on your own, what it's going to be like to go approach this woman, right? A lot of guys assume she's got a boyfriend, she's been hit on 20 times, she's got like bitch face. You ever hear like bitch face? Like she just looks mean, like she's going to reject me. Most of the time, those women actually are very nice and don't reject you, right? You can never, never, ever know what's going to happen until you go up and start the conversation, all right? So I want you to do that. All right, cool. Next question is Bigdunkerman. Hey, Trip. How should I handle this situation? When I speak to a girl at the bar, we get on well and we get to a point when I suggest to go to my place. I don't know what to say because the problem is that I live with my family, so it is really awkward to first introduce her to my parents, then have sex. I think we should feel ourselves really comfortable in that situation. How can we go to her place? Or if she also lives with her family, what is the solution? Okay, great question. This one goes out to probably more the younger audience out there who you're over 21, or maybe you're in Europe and you're over 18 and you still live with your parents, but you want to hook up with some girls. Here's the thing. Kind of like I said earlier, I would test that out. I would test it out to see what happens. My guess, and I know you're going to be like, holy crap, like, should I really bring home a girl and my parents are there? Like, yeah, why not? If your parents don't care, then what's the big deal? See what happens. Maybe they're going to be asleep. Maybe it's not going to matter, right? Again, you're making these judgment calls. Like you're assuming things are going to go bad. Now I know probably not the best idea to bring a girl home if you live with your parents. Probably not the best idea. But why don't you just try it and see what happens? Maybe it actually works out. Maybe the woman won't care. Okay. Other than that, let's see. I mean, you never want to try to go back to her place. It's just never a good idea. The bad part about going back to her place or trying to go back to a woman's place is you'll never have full control over that. I want you to always have full control and range over every situation. I never want you to be out of control and it's like it's out of your hands. And a woman, I mean, there's nothing you can do to necessarily convince her to go back to her place. She might have roommates. She might have a messy place and she doesn't want you to be there, right? There's so many reasons why you might not be able to go back to her place, right? So always try to go back to yours. Sorry, one second. Allergies, guys, allergies, terrible. Okay. Another thing is, yeah, so with this situation, if it's like you figured out like, okay, there's just no way you're going to even test this out, bring her back to your place when your parents are there, or you do test it out, it doesn't work out, it just goes terrible, then I would just go on a date with her. You know, go on a date with her and kind of see what happens there. If she's more comfortable with you, then you might be able to go back to her place then, or you can always time it out so you guys go on a date and then go back to your place when you know your parents aren't going to be there, okay? Otherwise, I think the next move for you, buddy, is try to get your own place. It's going to help out. All right, let's keep going. Stylish fellow. Here's a question. What to ask if I want to take her home? Okay, so we're back on the take her home questions. How do I know if the right time, excuse me for that, sorry, how do I know if the right time for that move has come? What the best time to ask is? All right, so, okay, with this one, the idea here is if you want to take her home, you really want to like seed this idea of doing an after party. I found out that's like one of the best ways is like you say like you're gonna have an after party at your place, you're having people over or whatever, and just like tell her that she should come over later, right? Kind of like, but don't say that like at the end of the interaction. Say that like when you're talking to her and her friends. And again, you want to actually invite all of her friends over. That's the best way. And if you want to hook up with her, just go in a bedroom somewhere or something like that. Just go off to the corner. But yeah, invite people over, have an after party. That's going to be the easiest way for her to actually want to trust you and come over if she can bring her friends. Okay. What else here? What else? Here's another thing too, is that when it comes to sleeping with women, in any case, whether it be a one-night stand or it be for the first time, you know, on a first date or whatever it is, got to remember when we make the decision to sleep with someone, whether it's a man or a woman, when we finally are saying like, hey, this is it, I want to sleep with this person, right? Men, I will say, generally make that decision much quicker, but we're making this decision based on emotion, right? It's never very logical, especially a woman. She's not going to be like, all right, you know, he's got this, 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 and this, you know, checking things off her list. I'm going to sleep with him, and then do it, right? Even us guys, we're not going to be like thinking very logically. It's all emotional. Why do we want to sleep with the woman? It's because we're craving her sexually. It's because we're attracted to her. Okay, that's just kind of like happening in our body. We feel that magnetic pull towards somebody, right? Like, oh, that person's so beautiful, I want to have sex with them, right? That's what's going on in our minds. Okay, so what does this all have to do with the question here? We have to remember that with that idea, you're never going to be able to convince a woman to sleep with you. There's no logical way to have her, you know, just be like, yes, I will sleep with you now. It's going to happen. Okay, you have to turn her on. You have to get her attracted to you. You have to make her feel an emotional response to you, because when you get that, that's when she's going to want to jump on your bones. Okay, it's never going to be some logical decision. All right. All right, let's go to the next one. And by the way, I want to give a quick shout out. There's two hot ladies all the way in Las Vegas, Nevada, who are watching this right now. And I want to give a little shout out to you two. Hello, thanks for watching. All right, cool. Development Project. That is the name of the next person who asked the next question. Hey, Trip, here's the thing. At the bars, I generally have no problem getting numbers. However, most of these girls are drunk out of their minds and are only looking for one-night stands. Okay, how can I find girls, how can I find girls that would like to go on dates? God, buddy, it sounds like you have what I call a good problem. Okay, first of all, they're not really looking for one-night stands. Most of them are not looking for one-night stands. I don't know where you are getting that. Most of them are looking for dates. I mean, most women just don't think about going out to the bars. Again, we're thinking logical right here. Most women, not all, you know, but they'll be like, they're not going to say, I want to bang a guy tonight, going to the bars, right? They don't say that as much. Okay, trust me, they would rather go on a date with you. Okay, again, not saying that you shouldn't sleep with them on the first night if they're interested. Great, but you know, most women, they actually do want to go on dates. So you're saying, how can I find the girls that want to go on dates? Here's a good tip. Go to the bar early. Most guys don't do this. They go everyone wants to go at the peak times, which I get. You don't want to go to a bar when it's empty. You want to go when it's raging, but go really early. Like not when it first opens, but maybe like an hour and a half into it. So let's say like most bars they get going like 11:30, 12. Show up at like 9:30. You're going to start meeting women at the bar who will be there, but they're not going to be that drunk. Okay? So you can start talking to those girls who are more sober and get their numbers, and those girls will remember you. Okay? Also, again, I'm getting this vibe from this question. This is something that you really haven't tried out. It sounds like you haven't even tried this, right? Is that you're assuming that they're looking for one-night stands, and you're assuming that, like, I don't know, maybe that they're rejecting you or something, and you're like, oh, they're looking for one-night stands. They don't really want dates. So if that's happening, there's a chance that you're actually not doing very well with these women that you're talking to. Okay, yeah, maybe you're getting their number, but you're not meeting up with them. Like, you're not able to get them to meet up, right? So like maybe you text or call a girl a couple of days after you get her number, and she doesn't respond, and then your initial thought is some excuse like, oh, well, she just wanted to have a one-night stand. I mean, that might not be the case. Okay, you might have not done what you needed to do to get her interested in who you are. So I want you to think about that. But generally, dude, like, that's a pretty good problem to have. Again, most women want to go on dates. It shouldn't be that hard to find women who want to do that. Okay. All right. So we're about 25 minutes in. We got some time. I got some more questions. Here's another one. Robbie Conner says in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the powerful 8-word question. What are the steps from open to close? Oh man, Robbie, I could sit here for another freaking 48 hours and explain every single detail and step from open to close. We don't have that kind of time. And I don't want to skip over your question because it's a good one. So here's what I'm going to do. I have a whole kind of step-by-step process. Okay, this is generally the 10 steps that you're going to take. Of course, I know there's a lot that goes into each one of these steps, but here's just so whoever's watching, you can get an idea of what it really means to like, all right, there's a girl at a bar. Where do I start and where does it end? Okay, and here's just a quick answer. Step 1, approach. Step 2, you open with some sort of social opener, okay? Hold on, quick disclaimer. There's a lot of ways to do this, okay, just so you know. This is just mine. This is my idea of what works best. Okay, number 1, approach. Number 2, open with some sort of social opener. Hey, you girls are cool. Let it come over and say hi. You look fun. Let it come over and say hi. Okay, step 3, well, you're going to interact with the group. Okay, then you're going to, step 4, make some more statements. Make more statements and questions. Get them interested. Step 5, I want you to touch the girl that you're interested in, whether it be like on the shoulder or like on the elbow, something like that, right? So you're going to start the physical interaction with the girl that you like. Number 6, again, some of these steps, they might be out of order. You're not necessarily or in this order. You could kind of switch them around. Number 6, tell stories. Make sure that they're interested in you. Number 7, introduce more flirting into the mix, okay, and especially more flirting with the girl that you like in the group. Number 8, isolate the girl you like, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you like take her away from the group, although you could do that, like maybe take her to the dance floor or go get a drink with her, but you can also kind of isolate her in conversation, which I know sounds kind of crazy, like how would you be able to do that? But it kind of works out. If you're, for example, talking to like 4 women at a bar and you like are flirting more heavily with the other girl or the girl that you like, conversation might naturally start, well, you can move conversation more towards the girl that you do like, okay, following me here? And then naturally, the other women in the group might start talking to themselves, and now you're just in conversation with the girl that you like. It's a little kind of a lot of steps here, but follow me here. So then you do that, and then you can, in step 9, flirt heavier, right? More flirting, more, this is the part where you're going to be more sexual with her, right? Giving her really deep eye contact, things like that. You're going to be physically closer to her. And then step 10 is close, which can mean a number of things, right? You can actually just get her number, set up a date later on. You can end up going back to your place. Hopefully your parents aren't there, okay? You can invite her and her friends to an after party. So at that point, you can make one of those moves, okay? So that's a quick answer. Steps open to close. All right. Whew, we're on a roll here. Next, Grillmeister0815. How to seal the deal and maintain attraction. Does not, this is bad English, my friend. Maybe you're not from America. Does not going for the kiss, etc. Okay. Lower attraction and kills it. Can you prevent this? Or keep attraction up? When it comes to women, I'm very sorry. I just have to skip this. I don't really know what's happening here in this question. This is kind of a mess. We're skipping it. We're moving on. Sorry, dude. I'm going to try to read that question later and go into it. James, sorry, guys. James Foy. How do I establish some good meetup situations with girls without going out and doing cold approaches? I'm not that cheesy pickup artist kind of guy. Okay, although I draw people in and have a way with people, being an introvert and someone with no friends makes it hard to get into situations nowadays where I can create social circles and meet women. And no, I'm not bad or awkward with women. Women love my eye contact, witty sense of humor, and sexual innuendo, and I've used it to get a few girls in the past. Men love my ability to be inclusive and not see them as competition. Bro. Dude, this is like not even an issue. This is like, come on, another good problem here. All right, first of all, I'm gonna make a video about how to make friends, so that's gonna come up because friends really do help in creating a bigger social circle and makes it easier to meet more women. But at this point, what I'm seeing here, James, is that cold approach is almost inevitable. If you don't know anyone, you have no one to go out with, anyone you talk to is not really a warm approach. You're gonna have to talk to people who you don't know, hence a cold approach. All right, like I said, it's like it's gonna happen. You can always join clubs. You can join like meetup.com. That's a little bit warmer of an approach because you know that there's people at these clubs or meetups that are interested in the same thing that you're interested in, so it's not so cold. Sorry here, guys. This allergy is just freaking terrible. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Yeah, what else here? So yeah, the cold approach, don't think about this cold approaching. And by the way, if you're watching, you're like, what the hell is a cold approach? It just means you're going up and talking to a girl who you've never talked to before. Versus a warm approach is maybe like you get introduced to her by a friend or someone in a social circle, okay? So don't think like cold approaching is like, oh, it's for the pickup artists, it's cheesy. It's not cheesy. It's totally cool to go up to people that you don't know and strangers and go talk to them. But for you, I understand why it's a hard thing to do. It's you're an introvert, so you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go up to go to these clubs and bars and be the pickup artist guy. You're uncomfortable with it. But so here's my tip for you. If that's a problem for you, cold approaching is still inevitable. Do that during the day, right? Do that like at a coffee shop where you see a woman, at a bookstore, at the Whole Foods, wherever you go and shop, you know, out during the day when it starts getting nicer outside. Trust me, man, don't just say like, it's not for me. Like the second you say like, it's not for me, and you close yourself off and you use that kind of language, that's going to be bad for you, okay? You want to open yourself up to new ideas, okay? You're creating these labels for yourself like, oh, if I go and talk to someone I don't know, it's called a cold approach. And then after that, I'm a pickup artist, right? Dude, don't think about it that way, okay? What happens if you end up going up to a girl who's amazingly beautiful, who's on the sidewalk, you start a conversation with her and she becomes your new girlfriend? Are you going to be upset at that point? Well, it was a cold approach. Pickup artists do that. I'm a pickup artist. Stop labeling these things, okay? We label some of these things and call them cold approaches or whatever you want to call them just because it's easier to talk about, but don't think about it in this negative way, all right? So again, if you're an introvert, focus on meeting women in places that are not these crowded areas, because that's what's tough for you. It's tough for you as an introvert to go into these areas where there's so many people and it overwhelms you and it kind of freaks you out and then you get even more nervous, right? That's not the spot for you. Go check out my video, How to Meet Girls If You're an Introvert. I talk even more about this. I give some of the similar tips, but go and check that out. That's going to help you more. All right. We got a few more questions left, and I need more Kleenex because I'm like feeling like crap here. But I'm going to keep going. All right. Eric Garces. Hey, Trip, my question is, how do you get a girl to like you even though she currently has a boyfriend? Is it possible? Is it possible? Yeah, of course it's possible, but I'm going to answer this question with a question. Why would you want to be so desperate that you want to go for a girl who has a boyfriend? Thinking about that answer? Why do you want to go for a girl who already is in a relationship with someone? I can't even think. Again, I get it. Trust me, I was there. Okay, like I know like, there's this girl that you really like, and she has a boyfriend and you want her, but why? So many women out there. It's going to be so much better for you. I don't care how amazing this girl is. It's going to be so much better for you if you end up going for a girl who's ready for a relationship with you. You don't want to go for a girl who's going to have drama, have to break up with her boyfriend, all this stuff, and you're just going to be some sort of jerk for trying to break it up, right? Why even deal with that when there's so many women out there who are single? That's all I'm going to say. Let's keep going. Got about 3 more questions left. Guys, if you have more questions, ask them below. And if I don't get to them here, I will answer them as many as I can, as best to my ability. I think we had like over 100 questions last time, but I did answer a lot of those. And I'll answer them after this live Google Hangout, okay? And all right, let's go into the next one. David Lee, hi Trip. When you get a girlfriend, how do you keep them attracted and create a relationship that lasts? I know this is not what you usually teach, but it's a question that's been on my mind. Thanks. Okay, David. Here's the thing. Okay, that's such a long answer to that question. There's so many things that you need to do to keep her attracted. I'm just going to give you the quick answer, the real quick answer, and then I'm going to say this. I'm going to go deeper into this in my next Q&A. I think my next Q&A, I'm going to talk more a little bit about relationships, because I know there's a lot of guys out there who are like starting to date girls, or they're in relationships. They want advice on that. I have plenty of advice to give you on that. So we'll go into deeper stuff there and we can answer more of your questions. But here's the tip, okay? What you're going to do to keep the relationship lasting is literally almost the same things as what you're doing to start the relationship. All the things you're doing to court her, right? All the things you're doing to get her attracted to you, very similar to how you're going to keep the relationship going. You're going to do fun dates. You're going to do everything you can to act like the relationship is always new. Okay, so that's just like the quick answer. We'll go into that more in the next Q&A. By the way, guys, those of you who are watching live right now, if you have any suggestions for a Q&A, because I'm going to base them around topics from now on, because last month we just did more of a general one. This week, obviously, it's about, or this month, it's about meeting women at the bar. You got any ideas, write them below. I read all of these comments. I don't care if there's 1,000 comments. I'll go through all of them. So write below and give your suggestions for the Q&A. All right, cool. All right, let's do a couple more here. Drew Debbie says, how can you start getting sexual with the girl you haven't really been sexual with? Okay, I know I'm a smart man here, Drew, and I know why you're asking this question. You're asking this question because you're probably in the friend zone with the girl, and you're like, I know I need to start getting sexual because I've heard from Tripp and other dating coaches that you need to get like sexual with the girl. That's how you get out of the friend zone. So how do I start? Well, first of all, with the next girl you meet, I'm going to tell you, you start a lot sooner than you have with this girl. Okay, that's the key. Start a lot sooner than with this girl. But here's what you should do. Start with small amounts of flirting. Okay, so you just like tiny amounts of flirting with the girl. Okay, and that can be like giving her like a compliment or like sending like a winky face over text after you say something kind of cute. That's going to be maybe touching her a little bit, right, in the way that you maybe wouldn't touch a friend, like a hug. By the way, I have a video coming in the next like week called How to Hug a Girl. You're going to use that. Okay, that's going to be a good way to get flirty with a woman. But yeah, so what you're going to do is start off with some of those flirty techniques and gauge where she's at. If she seems to like flirt back with you, then you can get even more flirtatious with her, right? And then you can go into more touching, right? You can tease her a little bit, right? Things like that. But you never want to go overboard right away because you'll never know how she's going to react to it, and you might totally freak her out. So you have to do this thing that you might have heard before called escalation, where you escalate, right? You take step by step by step, slow, small steps to get to the point where you're getting more sexual with her, okay? For example, you can't go up to a woman on the street and be like, hey, let's have sex right now. She will say no, 100%. But if you meet her on the street and you talk about, you know, I don't know, whatever, hey, you know, you look cool. I had to come over and say hi. You guys start talking, and then you're flirting a little bit, and then you're flirting more, and then all of a sudden you guys are talking for 2 hours, and then you go on like a little instant date, and then you make out with her on the instant date because you guys connected really well, and then all of a sudden that night you're back at your place. Boom, that's how it happens. So these small little baby steps that you want to take in order to get sexual with the girl, okay? All right, one last question. If I want to practice approaches at bars, should I go alone or with my friends? I mean only to come over with them, not to do the work. Haha. Okay, that's Aleks N. This is the last question here, guys. So, should I go alone or with my friends? I'm actually going to be doing a video on that also pretty soon. That's all about how to meet women at a bar or anywhere without a wingman. But my answer is this: both. Okay, you want to do both. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. There's a better answer there. It's not really about doing both. It's about when you want. It's about control, right? When you want to go out, right? The control should be you should be in control. When you want to go out and you want to meet women, I don't care what night this is. Whenever you want and feel like you want to do that, you go do it. If your friends want to join you, awesome. If they can't join you, then you go. I don't want you to use a crutch like, I have no one to go out with. Can't go out alone, therefore I'm not going to go, right? No. Go out when you want to go out. Practice when you want to practice. If your friends can join you, awesome. You got some wingmen. How fun will that be? If they can't join you, awesome. You're going to go out alone. Have a great time. Doesn't really matter if you bring friends or not. Again, I'm going to speak more on this in an upcoming video. But again, the real answer here is don't wait for your friends or not. You know, if they can come, awesome. If they can't, you should go anyways. It's really, really powerful too. You're going to find times when you're going to have to go out alone because your friends won't come with you to do, like, you know, practicing doing approaches. You learn so much that night. Like, you skyrocket learning when you go out alone. Okay. Now, I know most of you might be like, well, then Trip, why shouldn't I just do that all the time? Well, because I don't want you to get better at one or the other, because it's kind of a different scenario when you're with friends and you're with wingmen, right? Like, it's just different. You know, you're gonna have to know how to do that. If you are really used to going out alone all the time, that's great. But then what happens when, like, friends come in the mix and you have wingmen there? What's gonna happen then? You're gonna be, like, kind of thrown off because you're not gonna know, like, what to do with it. You're not gonna be used to, like, introducing friends and bringing people in and having a wingman and all that stuff. So again, you really want to get better at everything. You want to get better at all that stuff. All right. Cool. So we went a little over time. We always do. I hope that was jam-packed information for you. Again, thank you so much for, you know, really being involved and asking all these questions. I hope that, you know, we went over some of the stuff that you guys wanted to know in terms of how to approach women at bars. If you have any more questions, write them down below. I will answer them. I will get to them. Any ideas for other Q&As? I do these once a month. Write it below. I want to hear your suggestions. I'm all about it. And of course, if you want to get more information, you want to get a really cool free course, check it out in the description below. I'm going to put a link to my Super Seduction course, because a lot of material in that course it can be applied with meeting women at the bars. Okay, so there's a lot of really cool information in there. So go check that out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being involved, and I'll see you on the next hangout. Cool.